Hello and welcome to the episode 6 of Scrum Master and Product Owner Career Series. My name is Anand Pandey and I'm the host of your series. The series is intended to help aspiring and experienced Scrum Masters and Product Owners to prepare for their next career progression. In each of these series, we share some great insights straight from the trenches. We have great guests who talk about their practices, where have been there, done that. So, lots to learn. We have got lots of such upcoming events, and you can also view our past events going to our website, targetagility.com, and you'll find a tab resources within that events. Today we have got Vigneshwar, who has been a Scrum Master for the last 4 years, and he's very well versed with Scrum and Skill Agile framework. He's currently working at Sky, which is a subsidiary of Comcast, and he's also a PSM2 and a Safe Scrum Master. Vignesh has been helping Scrum Masters interview candidates for quite some time, and he helps them, mentors them, guides them. Today, he is willing to give back and get into the shoe of an interview and help us understand what are the nuances, what is the experience of the whole interview process. So, Vignesh, I invite you to wear the hat of an interviewee and wishing you the best of luck even in this simulated interview.
Gives me the goosebumps.
All right, so let's get started. So I'm wearing a hat of an interviewer and you have a hat of an interviewee. So let's get started with the first question that I may have in my mind.
Hmm.
So how would a Scrum Master know that the team is having the daily Scrum very actively? Given that Scrum Master is not supposed to attend daily Scrum.
Okay. A Scrum Master, as you know, is not an active member of the daily conversation, right? Daily Scrum conversation, because it's more focused towards the sprint backlog and the sprint goal. Uh, However, in certain cases, a Scrum Master can join as a passive audience where he or she can observe the conversations between the developers and just think about it and focus it towards the sprint goal. Make sure that the whole team is committed to it, and that's how we know it's going on right on track. This is how you know that it's being done effectively on a daily basis, and also the developers should be able to uh, be open about it, like there is no fear of retaliation, there are no hierarchies that exist within them, and also the impediments are called out. And also there might be some other passive audience who might try to hijack the conversation and take it away from the sprint goal, and also thereby they would be breaching the time box as well. So yeah, the rationale I think behind answering this question is that clearly a scrum master should not be a mandatory participant in the daily scrum. However, just to ensure the effectiveness of the Scrum events, right, the team should imbibe the values, the Scrum values, which are the commitment, focus, openness, courage, and the respect for one another. Remember, Scrum Master is committed to the Scrum team so that all the Scrum events take place are positive, productive, and are kept within the time box.
Vignesh, I like that how you answered this question in not more than 40 seconds. So throughout your answer, my attention did not get distracted. So, and one more thing I liked was the beginning itself, you used he or she. Most of the time, I
Yep.
find that Scrum Masters whom I am interviewing, they stick to he. No. So there's kind of gender bias which I'm getting in the response. I like that part where you said he or she. So it's more of an inclusivity over there. Yeah, the richness of your answer and how you put the sense of Scrum. You used right terminologies of Scrum Guide, which if an interviewer is obsessed with Scrum, they would appreciate. And of course, the rationale that you said, right? The rational part was basically exemplifying why you answered it that way. All right. Again, getting back to the interviewer hat, I've got another question for you. So imagine a scenario where there is a product owner who feels that most of the time during the sprint planning is just lost in preparing for the sprint backlog. What would you do if you were a Scrum Master and the product owner is having this concern?
Usually a scrum master here tries to understand that there is an anti-pattern, or rather the scrum guide is not being followed because there is no product backlog to deliver the product goal. So what I as a scrum master would suggest to the product owner is to pick up and run the backlog refinement sessions. So once you start running the backlog refinement sessions, then there is a healthy product backlog which matches up to the product goal. So once you have the product backlog which is healthy, automatically ensures that there is the developers can get on with it and cherry pick the sprint backlog and give their commitment towards a sprint goal. uh, yeah, and the rationale behind this again is the scrum master serves the product owner to help find the techniques for effective product goal definition and the product backlog management. So, and at the same time, Scrum Master is also responsible to help the product owner and the Scrum team to understand that there is a need for a clear and concise product backlog items.
Hmm. Once again, Vignesh, very short, crisp answer that you provided. And one more thing
Thank
to
you.
I noticed was that you took 3 seconds,
Hmm.
think over, tie back your points, and this is very important. As an interviewee, should appear that yes, you are collecting your thoughts. Otherwise, it might appear that you have just found somewhere all these question dumps, you have prepared those answers, you have mugged up, and you're just vomiting over there. So it should not appear that as if you have come very much prepared for this question. Even if you do know the answers, please emulate as if like, hey, now you are collecting your thoughts. And interviewers like that. So if you take 5 seconds pause, 10 seconds pause, you may express that, right? Uh, can I take 10 seconds to collect my thoughts and then give you the answers? No interviewer will say that, no, 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 don't do that. All right. Next question. I'm going to ask you about backlog refinement. Now,
Hmm.
question one. Why is backlog refinement not called an event? And what should be the time box of product backlog refinement?
Uh, a backlog refinement is more or less an activity and it's not a scrum event. The reason why is that product owner should be within their liberty to choose and order the product backlog items. Make sure that they have a healthy product backlog so that there is a so that it matches up to the product goal. So this is very reason why product backlog refinement is not time box. So they can have like for sometimes during the sprints, right, they might have more clarity as and when the team starts working on it. So this is exactly why a product backlog refinement is not time boxed according to Scrum. Right. The rationale behind me answering this question in such a way is that the product owner is solely accountable for the product backlog management, uh, developing and explicitly communicating the product goal, creating and communicating the product backlogs, right? So that is the one of the major responsibilities of the product owner. And also the person also has to ensure that the product backlog is transparent and visible and clearly understood. And for this very reason I believe that there is no time box on the backlog refinement even.
No, wonderful. Again, hat-trick on making the answer very crisp. But this time, Vignesh, I liked one thing. You provided a mic drop response, and interviewers sometimes like those mic drop answers. What does that mean? You just put the answer in like 5 seconds, and then you elaborate that. So when you said product backlog refinement is not an event, like, and you pause, and then you said, pause. So that caught my attention that, hey, now Vignesh is going to give me a reason. So whenever we are answering such interview questions, one or two questions need to be mic drop. One or two questions can be 30 seconds. Some questions may need a more elaborative, a minute or so. Generally, what I've seen is that people either go with a mic drop answer for all the questions or they go with an elaborative answer for all the questions. So they don't maintain a right balance between mic drop, small, and elaborative conversation. You are doing that very well.
Thank you.
So here's the next question. Kind of a technical question, if you will.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
developers find, so they, let's say they are doing some vulnerability scanning and they found some issue in their code. Uh, Now that will take more time to complete the work because this was not even identified. This was not even part of their maybe definition of done also. What shall they do now? Because they have a sprint goal also to achieve.
Okay. Uh, in this case, as a Scrum Master, first of all, I'll just suggest that the developers reach out to the product owner and clearly let the person know that this is the case. The product owner then goes about it, adds that to the product backlog. So it becomes a product backlog item and it's prioritized and estimated accordingly. Uh, Next, depending on the criticality, the developers and the product owner can have a discussion on the trade-offs. Like is it worth compromising on the sprint goal, or is it something that can wait, which can be fixed in the next sprint or so? Because as you all are aware, right, the product owner is the sole responsible person who can consider sprint goal as obsolete and also can cancel the sprint. So once the vulnerability is fixed, if I should say, then as a Scrum Master, I would suggest the developers to update the definition of done so that when you're delivering the next set of increments, right, it matches and that vulnerability doesn't reoccur in the coding standards once again. Again, the rationale behind me answering this question as such is that the product owner has certain roles and responsibilities, and the development team have to discuss the trade-offs. And at the same time, Scrum Master is responsible uh, on the quality aspect of the increments that are delivered. So this is how you build a successful Scrum team.
Quite response. This was a bit elaborative, and I like that. And when you had a long answer, you said first, and then you said next. So it's like first, next. I would have appreciated a hand gesture so that it anchors in my mind. I'm more of a visual person. But yeah. So whenever we have a long answer, okay, then let's not make it
Mhm.
a paragraph, right? Try to put like first, this is what I'll be doing, then I'll be doing, third I'll be doing. So, and then paraphrase toward the end. So these are the three steps I would be taking to do it out. So that it is there in the mind of the interviewer that, okay, just now Vignesh talked about three steps to take an action on. Interviewer may not even remember what those 3 points are, but at least now the interviewer knows that there was a three-step. One more question. Which one is your favorite metric? And don't say velocity.
So it totally depends on the type of operation that my team is following. So if I have to have a Scrum team, which is working on sprints, then obviously my go-to would be velocity and the burn down charts. When it's Kanban, obviously it's going to be the flow metrics, cumulative flow diagram where I can see where all the tasks are held up. So yeah, as far as I've handled, these are two type of operations within the team. When it comes to support, it's mostly the Kanban because your requirements are going to change back and forth when you get a ticket. So that's the so it depends on the type of team that you have and what sort of operational methodology that you're working on. So, yeah.
Any other metrics that you would suggest apart from the flow metrics? Higher
Um,
level.
from a safe point of view, it's mostly mm, what what they say is usually we have the burn up charts as opposed to burn down where you can because burn down obviously if you remove something from thread it's just showing it's going to go out, whereas in safe it says that when you have a burn up chart you actually progress, you can clearly see what are the items there. So yeah, that's one of the things. And also at a PI level, which is a planning interval level, yeah, that's the most important aspect. So these are the primary metrics that I've been, quite used to. So as far as I've handled, these are two levels of metrics. When I go above a certain layer above, uh, there are also the things which are related to time estimations where there is a bit of an anti-pattern, but however the management wants to see how effectively squads are spending time. That's something that they would like as part of the time tracking, which is quite a bit of an anti-pattern, but somehow they need to understand that where the fair amount of time is being used on. So it's not a it's not to it's always, but what I as a scrum master generally do is I suggest time estimates as a secondary option keep story points as it is. You leveraging the power of the tools that we have today, like Jira and ServiceNow. We can use both at the same time. So yeah, this is generally what I tend to follow as a Scrum Master and suggest to the management teams.
Great response to that, Vignesh. Feedback. Uh,
Hmm.
I appreciate you going different angles when you came about metrics. You looked into the
Hmm.
operation side, the flow side, the predictable side. One thing I would have appreciated is not saying it's an anti-pattern,
Hmm.
because you never know what is the mindset of an interviewer. Maybe the interviewer is actually obsessed with that person. When you say anti-pattern, that may hurt and hit the person, right? So you may
Emotions,
say
yeah.
that, yes, in this one organization, we were using this methods. Though I'm not personally, I would not use that word. I'm not personally fan of that because you never know, right? The interviewer might be a big fan of that methods. So always try to be politically correct in those interviews.
Hmm.
Later on, you may challenge the manager. That's completely up to you. Yeah. And one more thing
Yeah.
I liked about your response was you took a practical approach, right? You did not stick to only the theory that about velocity and burn down and burn up. You also talked about that. Organizations look for productivity. Organizations look for time to fair deal because they are paying the salary.
Exactly.
English, the one of the common questions that I generally ask all the interviewers is, what are you currently doing right now?
So, in the recent times, I've been focused on scaled agile frameworks and got myself recently certified. So, that took a bit of a time. And as far as I can say, most of the times, what I do is I learn from real life, looking at people and relating. One of the things that got me interested to look and learn rather than just reading. So that's more of my kind of an approach where I can see what's working well, what's not working well. So it's more of a practical approach. Um, Listening to some of the good stuff, like music has been my passion, that I like to listen to it. And there's certain verses that hit your soul right there where it has to. So that's been there. And yeah, that's pretty much taught me the lesson for life. So yeah, but that's
So
pretty much
music of
me.
Ilayaraja type or music of A.R. Rahman type?
Not necessarily. I go by the verses. It depends. Totally depends on the verses of the music. I mean, the song, the verses. That's what counts, and that's what you need as a motivation to start your day or to end that. Yeah, feeling down, you need something at the end of the day. Feeling great, you need something in the beginning of the day. So, yep. So both the times it goes and teaches you a lot of lesson. Like yeah.
It
So
relaxes a lot, takes you to a different.
yes, ultimately that's what it is. Right at the end of the day, you need to have your peace of mind and gather yourself, gather your thoughts. That's when you can come and tell, or rather help facilitate your teams better. Like there is something like wrong with you, you won't be even be in a better position to hold yourselves and remain that calm person that you are, right? So you need to find a way to pacify yourselves and make sure that make sure that you're doing a good job. Because as a scrum master, what I've seen is that it's more about the team than about ourselves. So you need to be first calm and composed. So you shouldn't be carrying on the burden of a previous day or the next. So
Uh,
that's
like that,
that's what
you
it is.
wanted the music to your Scrum Master. Calm and pacified. Great. And how you attend these interviews as well, right? These stressful
Yes.
interviews. Because now we are formally closing this interview, Vignesh.
Hmm.
Because this is one thing which I have found interviewees very nervous during the interview, right? It's very rare to find an interviewee who's so calm and composed like you were, right? Though it is simulated one, though we are just recording for the sake of a podcast, but I'm
Hmm.
very sure when you would be going for a real interview also, you would be still so calm and composed, and you're already attributing music to it, right?
The simple thing that I've learned, right, I mean, this is a swivel chair, right? One day you are an interview, one day you are the interviewer. It's a swivel chair. So what I've learned is it's as an interviewer, it's okay to be humble because the interviewee can know more than you do. So and you're willing to learn. And in my case, in my particular case, right, I've just gone and helped with the recruitment of. Scrum Master who's a cadre above me when it comes to terms of experience, right? So you should look that you have the ability to learn from the people. When you're interviewing, you're not like, I don't hold the moral high grounds here. I am here as good as you are. So that's the thought I carry even as an interviewer. I am at times I'm nervous because I don't want to blurt out something that's wrong, because or if I challenge, I don't want to challenge something when the interviewee feels bad that is this the quality of the candidates who are already there. So you're carrying a reputation, but at the same time you need to make sure that you're open to learn. That's the one thing that's every that should be every Scrum Master's mantra, I should say. Yeah, you should be open to.
Humility. Like I always advocate for humility because you never know who's reporting to you. Might be you're reporting to that person in your next company. You never know, right?
Never know. Yeah.
Vignesh, what do you want to share? Some tips aspiring Scrum Masters who are preparing for the job interviews. What are the do's and don'ts that you have come across in your experience?
uh, as far as I've seen, right, work on your resume first, because that's the clear indication. And if you're just carrying on the same CVs and resumes, right, make sure that you read through those resumes or CVs before attending the interview, because you might have put something there. Make sure that it's authentic, like you as a person have done that. Because the first thing you're going to say is, right, if as an interviewer, if I have to answer as an interviewer, first thing I see is if you have mentioned that you are certified in a certain uh, framework, I'm going to start questioning you on that from the level of knowledge that I have. Or at least if not, I as an interviewer, I'll make sure I'll put in an effort to at least learn a few nuances here and there. So be legitimate with your experience. And if there is no hard and fast rule that you only have to be a Scrum. There are hybrid Scrum Masters, but now that you want to make the transition into Scrum Master, because to be honest, I myself started as a hybrid Scrum Master because I was into service now development, parallelly working as a Scrum Master. So um, that's how I landed this opportunity as a Scrum Master. So that's how I started off as a Scrum Master. So be legitimate with what you are, because as a Scrum Master it's more experience scenarios. For because first thing I as a Scrum Master have observed is one of my interviews is that I uh, it's a simple question when you ask someone, right, when you see a burn down and no story points are delivered, what is that no story points have been delivered for the first 5 days of the sprint, what is that you see in your burn down? And if you say some stories, right, if it's not planking or if it's not a straight line, you're gone. So make sure you have that, um, make sure that you understand these scenarios, make sure that you provide a legitimate uh, CV, and also make sure that you have real world experience when you're actually wanting to get that job. If you're a budding Scrum Master, make sure that you liaise with your Scrum Masters, try to understand what they do on a daily basis. Uh, as a Scrum Master, there are a lot of things being processed because there are many people who are talking, and Scrum Masters actually observing these conversations and making sure that the team works, you know, in harmony, to be honest. So I should say in harmony, because that's where you as a Scrum Master are doing a perfectly good job, to be honest.
Any other advice? So you did mention that your CV should be strong and it should be legitimate, genuine, and it should speak about your experience. Any other tip that you would like to share?
uh, so from my personal experience, there are people willing to give chances. So never be bogged down that I do not have experience as Scrum, but sometimes the effort counts. So make sure that you put in that effort, and when you put in that effort and you're a strong candidate, make sure you go around asking for an opportunity. So opportunity, you never know when it might. I mean, the people say it doesn't knock on your door twice, but if you go knocking, it doesn't matter how many times you knock.
Wow. That's inside with this. And it's applicable everywhere, right?
Yes.
You don't have to wait for the opportunity to knock. You keep knocking. Someone may open the door. You wait for someone to knock your door. It may not even happen.
That-
Wow. It was a great conversation, Vignesh, I had just now with you. And I'm sure people who will be watching this video, they'll have lots of takeaways from this, lots of insights for the aspiring Scrum Masters.
Cheers.
Thanks, Vignesh, for being generous to take time out on Thursday. I know you're still in office from your busy schedule and sharing some of your thoughts. Friends, this recording will be available within tomorrow. I'm a bit lazy on that, but I'll try to my best to make it available by tomorrow. And then the link of this is available from my website, targetagility.com, under the events tab. And with that, I wish you all a very best of luck for your career progression. And looking forward to the next event, which is happening on next Thursday. We will have another person, and we will have some simulated interview and learning from there. And yes, do consider Target Agility as your learning partner for all your Agile certification and help us with your career. Goodbye, friends.